What's up, good peoples? You guys ready for tonight? This thing says there's one playback. How is there one playback when we haven't even started? We haven't started. We're going to start right at 6 o'clock. Right at 6 o'clock. That's when we're going to start. But I came on to see if you guys had any questions that you would like for me to answer. Even though I haven't, know exactly what I'm going to talk about. Just, if you have any questions about conflict resolution in general. Or you may want to wait till the end. It's up to you. But we are going live. I just decided to do this pre-party. I don't know what it's called. But once I start, then I'm in it. Okay? All right. So, we're finna get started with whoever's in here. And whoever's not can catch up with us. All right. All right. You guys ready? Well, first of all, can you hear me fine? If anyone can tell me, but right before 6 o'clock, if everything looks good on your end, if just one person can say, hey, yep, it's good. We're good. It's good right now. I guess if you don't say anything, I'm just going to assume that it's good and go for it. All right. All right, here we go. Hey guys, welcome to tonight's training on conflict resolution. I am your host, Clifton Brantley, and wow, do we have some good stuff tonight. Yes. Now, although I've taught on conflict resolution before, I wanted to talk about it again because it really is a crucial element to having a successful relationship. If you cannot resolve conflict, then your relationship cannot grow. I find that there are a lot of barriers to people being able to resolve conflict effectively, from the fear of it getting out of control, so you just avoid it altogether, to the belief that conflict is bad. So if you fight, then it means your love isn't strong enough. And then some people are not good at conflict resolution, at resolving conflict, because they just don't understand the value of it. Okay, trust me when I tell you, conflict is valuable. Not only is conflict valuable, but it's also unavoidable. So I want to help you by giving you some insight on how to be more effective at it. Conflict resolution was the first course that I created because I knew that if couples could just learn to do this, then everything else that they needed to learn would go smoother. At the end of tonight's session, I actually will be relaunching the conflict resolution course, and I'll probably add some of this information to that course because the things I'm covering tonight is actually not in the course, okay? So let's talk about the purpose of conflict resolution as we start, okay? Now, what is the focus when we're trying to resolve conflict? The focus is to restore unity. That's the main goal of resolving conflict, restoring unity. That's important because too often restoring unity is not the goal, which is why you may struggle at it. When you and your partner are having a conflict, your goal can't be for them to understand you, right? Your goal can't be to win the argument. Your relationship has to be more important than the things that you guys are having a conflict about. I told you last week that the only way that marriage works is when it is prioritized as first. That is still the case when you are having conflict. your marriage has to be first. You got to make sure the marriage agenda is above your agenda. When you put your agenda above the marriage agenda or the relationship agenda, you will suffer. Okay. Now, the reason you want to have a game plan for conflict resolution is because when emotions come into play, it is easy to forget that you are having a conflict with your teammate. And too often people fight as if they're fighting with strangers, right? It always saddens me when a couple tells me, when we fight, we hit below the belt. Why do you do that? Why do you hit below the belt? Because after you're done with all of whatever you do and say, you still have to live in the marriage where you just set off nuclear bombs. And so why do people fight like that anyway? Well, usually it's because they have a heart that hasn't been fully regenerated. Whether or not you believe it, that is very important. The ugly things that come out of your mouth are a result of what's in your heart. And the thing about what's in your heart is your partner didn't put it there, right? Your partner didn't put the ugly things in your heart that's coming out of your mouth. And I tell people all the time, your spouse can't make you do anything. What is in you is the only thing that can come out of you. And in times of difficulty, because see, there are people who, when things are difficult or when they get into conflict, love actually comes out. Why? Because that's what they're full of. But if you're full of vengeance, if you're full of bitterness, if you're full of I need to have my way, or whatever the case, when squeezed or when in conflict, that's what's going to come out. So we need to have a game plan when it comes to resolving conflict to make sure you do not do more harm than good. The goal is to take conflict and to grow from it, right? I tell for the people who try to avoid conflict, I say, don't avoid it, because if you avoid it, number one, you're not being authentic. But number two, you can't grow. How do you grow when you have conflict? Well, it's not when you have conflict, but it's when you resolve it. How do you grow? Well, because, you bump heads, you have conflict, right? Resolving it means now we understand each other better. And so now our love can go deeper because we know each other better. Okay. So tonight I want to talk about fighting fair, and then I want to leave room for questions. So I won't be like super long tonight, because I want to make sure, I know this is a huge topic. I get a lot of questions about it a lot of times. So I want to make sure I leave room for questions at the end. So first of all, listen, understand that, and I think this is important, you don't have to address everything that your partner does. Okay. There are some things that you can reconcile on your own without ever letting them know that it bothered you. But here's the thing. As you try to let something go, but then after a while you realize it's still on your mind, you need to say something. Okay. No one can tell you how small something is or how small it should be or what you should get over. Okay. If it's still on your mind, then you didn't let it go. And you may need your partner or a close friend or someone to help you process what you feel. Okay. Now, actually, let's talk about friends for a second. Okay. I want to address this. You cannot share information about your relationship or your partner with anyone who is not a friend of the marriage. Okay. Or the relationship. Okay? I primarily talk about marriage, but relationship. You can't share with someone who's not a friend of the relationship. It is best to have couple friends that you can do life with. Friends with the same marital or relationship values as you. That way, if you share something, then they're going to give you advice that is for the betterment of your relationship and not just something to make you feel good. Family members in general, this is just in general, family members in general do not qualify as people you want to share information about your marriage with. Now, every now and then, there are situations where parents or relatives are truly unbiased. But for the most part, I would try to avoid sharing with family. Okay. And even if they are unbiased, there are still some intimate details you simply don't want to share with anyone other than a therapist or your partner. Okay, so now back to the point that I was making. You don't have to address everything that your partner does that you don't like. But if you can't let it go, even if you thought it was small yourself, but it's still on your mind, you need to address it. Ideally, because your partner loves you, they will welcome whatever is bothering you, no matter how small it is. And they won't make you feel small because you're stuck on that seemingly small thing, right? Another thing is this: you have to always remember that the only person on the planet that you can control is you. Now, I know that may be obvious when I say it, but that's not the way we act. We act as if we can control people, and we act as if we can control our spouse. But when you are in the midst of conflict, I want you to remember that you are in full control of you and you only. You cannot control them. You are responsible for what you say, not them, right? You can't say, I yelled at them because they yelled at me. That's not true. Okay. By the way, we don't yell at humans. Okay? Just so you know, we don't yell at humans as a way of communicating how we feel. All right. The only time we yell at humans is if you are trying to like warn them or something, trying to get their attention and to warn them, to keep them from imminent danger. Other than that, yelling at humans is not what we do. And it doesn't matter the age of the human, whether they are 1, 3, 5, 13, 38, 67. We don't yell at humans. So when I'm sharing these things with you about this conflict resolution stuff, I'm talking about you because I'm making the point that you can't control them. All you can control is you. So I'm talking to you about you and how you interact with your partner. It would be good if both of you are on here, or both of you get the mini course and you learn how to do conflict resolution together. But I'm primarily talking to you. Okay, I'm not talking to them. If you want to share with them and you guys talk about how to resolve conflict outside of conflict, that's cool. But implementing these strategies, I'm talking to you. Okay, now, in order to be good at resolving conflict, as a couple, like as a unit, there should be an atmosphere of grace. Now, what I mean by that is when your partner does something that you don't like, your partner does something you don't like or does something wrong, give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they were being human as opposed to trying to hurt you. We often want our partners to act right, but we may not. But the issue is that we may need to grow in our love as opposed to like focusing on their brokenness. If you focus on you, like they have bad behavior, but if you focus on you, yep, they have bad behavior and I can't control them. Maybe it's time for me to grow so that my love can go deeper, to be patient with them in their brokenness until God fixes it. Okay. Always be mindful of how you are interacting with them more than, I'm not going to say ignore how they're interacting with you, but more than your focus on what they are doing and saying to you. Your response is your responsibility. Okay. I like that. Your response is your responsibility. Sometimes your spouse does something that is really bad, and it may take you a while to completely get over it. But in those times, keep in mind that they are your partner. Okay. If you are married, make up your mind that we're not going anywhere. Like we're going to be together. Okay. We're going to be together no matter what, because this is us. I'm mad right now, but we're not going anywhere. The reason I say that, because if you guys take quitting off the table, then it may allow you guys to be more free and authentic when you're having conflict, because the fear of losing your mate is not a fear. Like it's not something that you have to worry about. Now, obviously, I need to expound on that to make it, all the way plain. But in general, have a mindset of we're not going to quit. right? Now, having that kind of mindset, it helps in two ways. Number one, you may be less inclined to fight as if you're fighting for your life. Okay, that's dangerous. And then number two, you may realize that you don't have to resolve this right now, right? If we're going to be together forever, then let's make sure we're not rushing to an end just because we don't want to go to bed upset, right? Now, I'm not saying that you should go to bed upset, right? You should try as hard as you can to not go to bed upset. But the way life is set up, sometimes that just may happen. Okay, so, but if we've already established that no matter what, we're going to be together, then okay, we can go to bed tonight because I got to get up for work and you got to do whatever. But we know we're going to come back to this. Why? Because we're going to be together forever. And neither one of us want to live in chaos. So the goal is just we're pushing the pause button, not the stop button, right? Sweeping things under the rug doesn't work. You sweep stuff under the rug, you're just going to have a big lump in the rug and you guys are going to be tripping over it, right? Also, I tell people, buried emotions never die. Never. The ones that you've buried from your childhood, they're still there. They never die. Okay? All right. So now let me give you some tips on resolving conflict effectively. And then we'll kind of open it up for questions. And if I have time, I'll talk a little bit about what can happen when you don't resolve conflict, because that's in my notes too. So here's the first thing: discuss one topic at a time. Okay, don't let you left the dishes in the sink turn into you watch too much TV. Okay, discussions that get off topic are more likely to get heated, and they're less likely to solve the original problem. Choose one topic at a time and stick to it. One way to do that is to make sure you listen, right? You left the dishes in the sink might sound like you're not a good partner, but that's not what they said. And I dive deeper into that topic in the conflict resolution course, including how to deal with becoming defensive and how not to become defensive. Okay, when your partner brings up an issue, that's not the time for you to bring up the issue that you've been holding in. Okay, all right. So here's another thing: no degrading language. Right? Discuss the issue, not the person. No put downs or swearing or name calling. Okay. When name calling or when you cursing people out and name calling just in and of itself, I think that's childish. What's the point? What's the point of calling names? So when you degrade your partner, it's an attempt to express negative feelings while making sure that your partner feels just as bad as you do. Why? That's childish. Don't be childish. These kind of attacks with the bad language and calling names and just doing stuff, these kind of attacks are harmful to the relationship and they do not produce anything good. Don't assume that the only degrading language that you can use or the only degrading language you can have is cursing. All right, you can be critical with your words without raising your voice at all. Now, one way to avoid this is by using I statements instead of you statements. Okay? Talk about how you feel, not what they did. Right? I feel like you don't respect me, not you don't respect me. Because you don't know if they respect you or not. All you see is the behavior. And oftentimes we are masters. As humans, we're masters at misinterpreting what we see. I'm not saying it don't make sense. Sometimes the interpretation that we make, it makes sense, but it's still wrong most of the times. So be careful about making inaccurate interpretations about what you see from your partner. So you talk about how I feel as opposed to what they did. Now, this is really important because when you say you statements, you did this, you did that, it's going to sound like an attack. And when people are attacked, what do? The natural inclination is to defend themselves. As a matter of fact, let me say this. When you guys are talking, your partner is defending themselves. It's a clue to you that they feel attacked. Now, you may not be attacking, but no one defends themselves if they don't feel attacked. So regardless if you're attacking or not, if they feel attacked, you see them defending themselves, you stop, say, wait, what did I say that felt attacking to you? I may have said that wrong. Here's what I was trying to say. I feel this way. Okay. Now, here's another thing. This is really important too. Take a time out if things get too heated. Okay. When tempers start to flare, you become more and more vulnerable to pride. And when you're walking in pride, you are going to hurt your partner. You're going to harm your relationship. If an argument starts to become personal or heated, take a time out. Okay? Agree on a time to come back and discuss the problem after everyone has cooled down. All right? But also let me say, you want to make sure that your partner has the freedom to make a complaint without you becoming angry. Remember, complaints are not bad. Criticism is bad. I talked about that last week, but complaints are not bad. As a healthy partner in the relationship, you should be able to hear your partner's complain about what they don't like. And like I said before, don't use this time to talk about an issue that you have also, like something else, something that you don't like when they're bringing up what they don't like. Okay. Now, here's another thing. Don't be petty. Okay. I'm not going to expound on that because you know when you're being petty. If you're going to resolve conflict resolution, stay away from petticoat junction. That's not where you belong when it's a healthy relationship. Okay? Conflicts and problems that go unresolved can cause major problems in your relationship. I talk in great deal about conflict in the conflict resolution course about how to make repairs after you've had a conflict. Okay, how to, like, the apology, the purpose of the apology, and all those things. But you have to have a mindset of, I want to understand them, not I need them to understand me. Don't forget, love is not about you. It is about the person you are loving. But also, let me say this. I've been sharing this with people this week too. Love your partner, but don't have a mindset of pleasing your partner. What do you mean? Well, so love is about service. Serve your mate, serve your partner. But when you have a mindset of pleasing them is about pleasure. Pleasure is about what feels good, right? And so if your goal is to always make them feel good, then you're going to have a problem being authentic. You're going to have a problem bringing up what's really bothering you on the inside. You're going to be more prone to hide things. Why? Because your main focus is pleasing them. Love is not about pleasure, right? Love is about doing what's best for the other person. Now, when you show love, sometimes it is pleasurable, but pleasing them is not your goal. Don't ever forget that. You're not trying to just please them because so. And you know how I came up with this? Because I was thinking about the whole concept of people pleasing. People pleasing is a prison all on its own. Well, your spouse is a people. And so when you're trying to please them, there are some things that is truth or right or the right thing to do that's not pleasurable. But if you're focused on pleasing them, you may be out of line with God. Remember, we talked last week too. Life only works, or let me say life works best. You can only thrive at life when God is at the head of your life. And then you can only thrive in marriage when your marriage is at the top of your priority list. Okay? So now, here's another thing about resolving conflict. I hinted on it a little bit, and I'm not going to go deep into it. Okay, I'll do in the course, but being defensive will destroy your relationship. Why is being defensive so bad? Here's why. Because when you're defending yourself, you are dismissing your partner's feelings. And when you dismiss their feelings, it feels like you're dismissing me. When you dismiss me, then it feels like you don't care about me. Now we're moving closer towards I'm forgetting that you're my partner and I'm seeing you as a stranger. Or we're moving towards the emotions getting high and I'm about to start fighting for my life. The point is, things can get ugly when you're being defensive, but there are long-term effects from being defensive. Like after the situation is over, you get injuries that you may not readily know. They may not be obvious that you have these injuries, but you get them because in the conversation, your feelings weren't validated, or should I say, you didn't validate your partner's feelings, because I'm talking to you about being defensive. And here's the last thing I'm gonna share on being defensive, because I just finished talking about this with a client. Being defensive is not about being angry, actually. Like, you can be defensive without raising your voice. You can be defensive without, going haywire, without getting an attitude. Here's what defensiveness is. I said I wasn't going to go deep into it, but here I go. My goal is to help you. Your partner says, let's use the respect thing. I feel like you don't respect me. Your response to that is an explanation. I feel like you don't respect me. Well, I would respect you if such and such. Or, let's go back to the sink, the dishes. You left the dishes in the sink. You left the dishes in the sink, and it feels like you don't care about me. Well, last week you did such and such. You jump right over how they feel, because validating how they feel makes them feel heard. Now you guys can have a conversation, and then now you can help them see how you wasn't being unloving, but actually maybe you just made a mistake, or maybe they just saw it wrong. But if you try to go there before you validate their feelings, you're going to mess stuff up, and it's probably going to be bad, right? At the end of the day, at the root of every fight, argument, conflict, regardless of what the topic is, the core question at the root of it is this: do you care for me? Do I matter to you? Are you there for me? That's it. And so when you're having conflict, be mindful in the back of your mind, while we're having this conflict, I'm trying to answer for them. I care. I care that I hurt you. I care that you think I hurt you. Okay? I got to say this too, because it's been fresh on my mind all week also, because of the things that I've been dealing with. What I'm sharing with you, these skills about, conflict resolution, like I didn't talk about empathy, I didn't talk about compassion. Those are very crucial to conflict resolution. But you forget that people are a product of their environment, pretty much. So when your partner is interacting with you, the way that they're interacting with you, it ain't because of you. They came that way. And I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that you should just overlook it and dismiss it. But you may need to be patient with them and praying for them. And then in times outside of conflict, helping them grow so that they can be better. Because not everyone has the empathy skills. I got a friend who, we first became friends, she didn't know anything about empathy. She may have heard the word, but she didn't know how to do it. Now, me being who I am, that was unheard of to me. When we learn something, and I think I may have said this last week, when we learn something, we act as if we've always known it, right? I haven't always known what empathy was, but where I am now, it's like common sense because I know it. But she didn't know it. And so when we would, get into discussions and there was no empathy, the conclusion I made was, she don't care. But I found out that was not true. She just didn't know how to interact when it was heated. She didn't know how to interact when there was conflict. She didn't know how to interact when things were difficult. When people operate in fear, they're not going to be rational a lot of the times. And they're going to do things that to you may not make no sense at all. Why in the world would you do that? Fear. Think about it. When your fear system kicks in, let's say you sleep tonight, 3:00 in the morning, the fire alarm goes off and the smoke detector goes off. You jump up, your subconscious is going to wake you up. You're going to start moving about. There are certain things that you can't pay attention to, right? You're going to be doing things pretty much on automatic. And so there are things that you're going to miss. Like, your focus is survival. When your focus is survival, there's so many things, the small intricate details of a relationship. When you're living in survival mode or you're living in fear, you're going to miss that stuff. All right. So the whole point of sharing that little part is extend grace. Understand that they were not created in your image. They were not created and raised to love you, right? What you want from them, you may deserve, but maybe they're not there yet. And you chose them. Now, you can throw them back if you want, but here's the problem. All we have to choose from are broken people, so you're just going to pick another one, and you're still going to have to grow to love this broken person. So maybe getting rid of them is not the best idea. Okay? All right. So that's what I have for the conflict resolution tonight. At the bottom of the video, there should be a button where you can go to the conflict resolution course and purchase that. It's on sale right now. And I've added some bonus things that I'm offering with it. So check that out. And if it's not up, it should be. I told it to, just give it a little while. Okay, it's timed. I'm fancy. And so it'll come up in about 30 minutes. Well, 30 minutes after I start. So around about 6:30, 6:35, you should see it. But anyway, while we do that, are there any questions? I'm hoping that you guys have a lot of questions tonight, because this is a huge area. If you can get the conflict resolution piece down, it can shift the way you interact. It can almost immediately improve your marriage. Now, will it make it great? No, but if you can't resolve conflict, you can't move forward. And that's for real. As a friend of mine said, that's a for sure right on. Like, you have to be able to resolve conflict. So what kind of questions did you guys have? For some reason, let's see, I was looking for, I don't see the comments at all. So if you guys are saying something for whatever reason, allow live chat. Yes, enable live chat. Okay, so yeah, I don't see anything. If you guys are saying anything, so I'm not sure. I've never seen it this way before, because usually I can see the chat on here, but right now I don't see it. So let me see if I go to the actual video, if I can see the. No, I don't see it. So do you guys, is there if somebody say something, because I don't see the chat. And so I'm going to assume that there are no questions. If there are, because I can't see the chat, if there are questions, then you feel free to email them to me, and I will answer. Okay, I'll definitely answer them. But anyway, I thank you guys as always for allowing me to speak into your life and allowing me to be a voice that you listen to. Okay, and I hope tonight was helpful for you. So you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm gonna wait a few more minutes just to see. because I can't even type. Yeah, that's very interesting. Um, Settings, live chat. Yeah. Okay. Uh, well, somebody text me if one of you have my number. If any one of my friends are on here, text me and let me know if you can. If people are chatting and I'm not seeing it, because I want to give people the opportunity to say to get their questions answered. If that's the, I don't want to just end if people have an issue or want me to comment, or maybe I'm only by myself because nobody's texting me either. Okay, where's Daphne? Daphne, are you on here? If you're on here, text me. Okay. Okay, so somebody text me. There are no questions. Okay, well, y'all got it together. That's what's up. Hey, I'm glad I was able to help you guys be perfect. So, all right. Well, you guys enjoy your weekend. Next week, I'm on vacation uh, because I will be finishing my book. At the end of the week, next week, my book will be finished. Word is bond. It will be finished, and I'm so excited about that. So, anyway, all right, and we will meet next week. I don't know what the topic is. It may be something from the book, actually. So, but anyway, you guys enjoy your weekend. Stay safe as always, and God bless you.